Welcome to Off the Cut.
Dude, I haven't touched any wood in a long time.
I want to put my face in that grass.
Or you're trying to make eye contact with a person.
Maybe you're looking at it from the wrong angle.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad we got the explicit out of the way early.
Welcome to Off the Cut episode 155 for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. You guys, before we get started, I got a question for you, Zach.
Oh.
So I've been looking to buy some tools, and I'm looking for recommendations of where I should buy them.
Okay.
I have a couple requirements. All right. So here.
Sure.
First, they have to be thoroughly tested to be high quality, or they need to be made by the individual who owns the store, or perhaps by trusted members of our maker community.
Okay, so Home Depot, Lowe's, immediately out.
Out. Second, they have to donate a portion of all their proceeds directly to the Katz Moses Woodworkers with Disabilities Fund, which gets tools and resources into the hands of folks who need it most.
Oh, Lee Valley's done.
Yeah.
Woodcraft's out.
Yeah,
you know what? Do you have any other requirements?
Yes. I got two more.
Okay,
Third,
keep going, because I got an idea.
They have to have some kind of snappy catchphrase, like if it's in their store, it's in their shop, or perhaps for woodworkers, by woodworkers.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
And lastly, and probably most importantly, they have to give away a $50 gift card to one of our patrons every single month who support the show and unlock the bonus show at patreon.com/offthecuttpodcast.
Okay.
Any suggestions?
I have analyzed all the variables, and there is one online store that meets all of your criteria.
Amazon,
you got it, baby. Let's get on with the show. No, it's KM Tools.
KMTools.com, baby. Still sponsoring the show even after daylight savings. Well,
that's right.
Speaking of tools, we were once again joined by one of our good friends. He eats horse all the time. In fact, he gets it from his butcher. Welcome back to the show, our good friend Jay Riemenschneider. I had to give you a Seinfeld one, Keith.
Oh, appreciate that. I haven't had horse in a while. It's quite a delicacy here in the East Coast.
I saw some posts the other day. It was like a vegetarian thing, and they had a whole lineup, like a police lineup of animals. When it says, and it's on one a spectrum thing. On one end it says friend, the other it says food, and they had a horse. It was towards the end of the food, and the top comment was my friend Jay.
Oh, I feel like that's the only time he was mentioned. Maybe there was one other mention, but yeah, Jay Riemenschneider, one of the mysterious characters, friends of Kramer. We never got to see him. No, him, Bob Sacamano, never saw him.
Oh yeah,
Gomez,
Bob Sacamano.
Somebody should do a nice flow chart or infographic of all unshown friends of Kramer.
I bet it's out there. It's on eBay or on printable somewhere. You can 3D print the whole tree.
You guys ever? Are you guys aware of? You're aware of R. Kelly, right? You know.
Of course.
R&B
and the various scandals associated with.
Yeah. Well, are you familiar with his mid-2000s rap opera saga?
Yes, I am actually. Yes.
Oh, Keith, if you've never heard of this, do yourself a favor. It is an epic, several hour long opera filled of sex, lies, deceit, and mischief, all with the exact same beat, several hours long.
It's actually insane. I've only ever listened to clips of it. I've never listened to it, front to back.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, it's so difficult and complicated to understand that somebody has actually made a flow chart of all the different characters in that, and it's wild. They got to make one for Seinfeld characters.
God bless these people who are like, you know what I'm going to devote 12 hours to is creating a flow chart for Trapped in the Closet, or you see these really intense infographics online. It's like somebody spent a lot of time on this for no reason whatsoever.
or people that are like moderators on Reddit forums and stuff like that. Like, do you know how many hours a day you're putting into something doing that? You're getting absolutely nothing in return.
It's crazy too, because Reddit's like a publicly traded company, and they just have like hundreds, maybe thousands of people working for free for them.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
So I just came back to me. My sister did give me a poster, and I just found it online. It's called A Chart About Nothing, and it has every character that was ever on Seinfeld, and
that's awesome.
How they relate to each. So it's color coded for how they relate, or whether they came in contact or who they were friends with on the show. Oh my gosh!
You got to make this go in like Printful or Teespring and make this a new line of T-shirts.
Yeah.
Right, have an individual one for each one of these characters.
Is Bob Sacamano on there?
I'm trying to open it up somewhere.
Yeah, I can only find like low resolution versions of it.
Yeah.
I want to know who David Puddy is related to. Maybe he's cousins with Bob Sacamano.
Can I save image as? Here we go.
Can you pull it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to download it. Yeah.
I've gotten to the point now where like some of my friends would be like, "Hey, do you like, you got any good shows or whatever?" I'm just like, I mean, I watch Seinfeld a lot.
Yeah, I'm currently rewatching Seinfeld for the 6th time. So that's about all
today.
Yeah, today. Yeah.
And then like somebody be like, "Why do you like Seinfeld so much?" I'm like, "It's a great show. Watch it." And they're like, "Nah." I'm like, "All right, you're like, I'm not gonna sit here trying to convince you why Seinfeld's a good show."
I don't get affiliate sales if you watch it.
Yeah. The problem with Seinfeld is that they kind of screwed it up in the early 2000s or even mid 2000s. They would play reruns of it, right? But they would only play like 12 episodes.
Yeah, the hits.
You know what I mean? But there's so many seasons, so I started watching it on Netflix, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I thought I had seen every episode, but there were so many that I hadn't.
Yeah. There are a couple bad episodes.
Oh, for sure. But, when you do 8 seasons or whatever it is, you're better than
9
thinkers in there. 9? Okay.
But I mean, just like,
sometimes they'll I was gonna say, sometimes on like Netflix and stuff, they'll interject like a little bit of extra footage, like altered shots or a little bit of different or extra on each scene or something like that.
Really?
So yeah, whenever you watch it on the different streaming platforms, you get a little bit different experience each time.
Oh.
Yeah, because it was always cut for TV. Like sometimes you would lose his stand-up on the outro, or his stand-up would be cut at the beginning a little bit. So yeah, when you see it on the streaming platforms, you get the whole
that's cool. But why is it different for different streaming platforms then?
That I don't know. I think
that's part of their licensing deal. Like that gives them like a little bit of an edge, maybe. I know they do it with like a lot of other TV shows too. Like I think Friends is like one of the biggest ones that has like the biggest changes between the different platforms as far as
interesting. It's kind of like
everything.
When you used to get a DVD, for all the kids out there who are listening who have no idea what I'm talking about. A DVD is a shiny disc that used to have movies on it. But you used to get like DVDs of TV shows, and they had to have like deleted scenes as like, incentive to actually buy it. So I didn't know that the streaming services were actually packing that in.
The bonus tracks, right?
Yeah, exactly. They would have commentary tracks and stuff too. I remember getting The Office, like season 1 or whatever, on DVD, and I actually listened to all the commentary tracks with like the directors talking about what it was like to make this episode and stuff.
Why?
I think I was very lonely and very bored at that point in my life.
Is this pre-Sophie?
Yeah, this is very much pre-Sophie. This is like 20 years. This is, you know what it was? It was, I took a year off after high school and I started working. So I had a little bit of money, and all my friends were in university and like busy all the time. So I had a little bit of money and then all the free time in the world. I get home at like 5 o'clock every day and be like, okay, what am I going to do? I call up my friends and be like, no, we're studying for this exam or whatever. So, yeah.
You're like, I'm going to watch the deleted director's cut commentary.
That's when I got deep into commentary tracks on DVDs.
What else obsessives do?
This is before 3D printers and woodworking for me.
One of the things I started noticing about Seinfeld, like, and now that I create videos and stuff like that, how come so many of the shots are horribly out of focus?
I know, right? It's crazy. especially with like older 90s TV, they're just like, yeah, it's fine. Screw it. Well, because probably a lot of the time it would air.
So fussy.
Yeah, it would. That's literally it. It would air on like crappy TVs. So they're like, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, through the 90s, the average TV size was less than 30 inches. So
yeah, it was like 13 inches, and you were sitting 8 feet away from it.
yeah.
Oh, hey, I got a good story for you guys. So, jointer and planer showed up today. Finally got those. So you guys know I still work the day job, right? So I still was on meetings and stuff today, and then I'm getting blown up on the side about people trying to want to shift this other meeting because this thing needs done for this client today, yada, yada, yada. And I get a call from the freight company yesterday. They're like, hey, we'll be there 12 to 4 to drop off the joiner planer. I was like, sure, no problem. It's 11:30 or 11:35. I'm like 5 minutes into this presentation that I'm doing, for work. Get a phone call. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The freight company's here. So like during this presentation that I'm doing, I'm like, hey guys, I'll be right back. And you and I both know this isn't going to be like a 30-second thing. This is going to be a minimum 15, 20-minute ordeal.
For sure. Yeah, at least.
So I was like, here we go. So I go outside, right? And the guy's out there. He's got the truck with the lift gate, which thank God, because half the time you get a freight delivery, you're like, I need a lift gate. And they show up with a semi and you're like, yo, like how am I going to get this down? Whatever. The guy, he's like, oh yeah, you're my first stop today. Your stuff should be, towards the front. I was like, all right, cool. He opens up the tailgate on the truck and just starts swearing profusely, like screaming. And I'm not going to hit the explicit already this soon in the episode, but I'm thinking like, what did I do? Like, what's going on? Right. And then he turns around to me and he goes, it's not you. It's these blank people who work in the warehouse, like loading the trucks. Right. Mm-hmm. The joiner and planer came on like a wooden skid, but not like a traditional pallet in which you can get like a pallet jack under, right? Well, they loaded the joiner and planer, both of which are close to 1,000 pounds each, just skid floor loaded on the truck. So he's like, no. I can't get my pallet jack underneath these to move them.
How did they even get them on the truck in the first place?
Forklift.
Oh, forklift.
Move the forks close together.
Yeah, they just moved the forks close together and just jammed it under there, right? Because the pallet was beat to hell. Like the skid that it was on just beat to hell, right?
Yeah.
And so the guy goes, I don't think I can get these off the truck. And he's so mad. He's taking pictures, sending it into like dispatch and stuff like that, right?
These animals.
And then I remember like a year ago, Irwin and one of those random things that they send to your house, but you have no idea how or who gave them your contact information.
Yeah.
They sent out like a coffee mug and like some coffee, and then these floor jack things. It's like a squeeze clamp.
Yeah.
That like lifts stuff up. And I go, I've got these like jacks that I think we can take a hammer and like bang them underneath the skid, right? But I was like, they only hold 330 pounds a piece. But I figured if you're kind of tilting it, not all of the weight's going to be on the clamp, right? So we could like rock this thing back and forth, get these jacks underneath. And then he gets like front of the pallet jack underneath the planer. Then I have to like climb on top of these other crates that are inside the truck. And like, as he's pushing the pallet jack towards me, I'm trying to like push it towards him to get like the back end up. Finally, we get it on. And this is the planer, right? So it's, 3 feet by 3 feet and like, 5 or 6 feet tall or whatever. Mm-hmm. We get it on the pallet jack. But then we get it to the lift gate. Get it down the lift gate, get it inside the garage, no problem. Then comes the jointer. Well, the jointer is like 7 feet long.
Yeah.
And it's pushed in like long, like hot dog way, right? have the exact same problem. We can't even get to the side of the jointer. So we had to do like the same thing where we got it underneath the pallet jack and you just like dragging it out like inch by inch until we can finally get to the side of this thing, right? Then we get it up on the pallet jack. We take it over to the lift gate. The lift gate is too small for him to be able to have the pallet jack and the pallet on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it keeps going.
Wait, hang on. So at this point, how many minutes are we in, and are these people just waiting for you to come back?
Yeah,
it's over a half hour.
Meeting's over.
So you're a full-time content creator now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's the best part. And so like we get the pallet on the lift gate, the jointer, and then he has to take the pallet jack out. We get it down. Well, here's the problem. Now the lift gate's all the way down with the jointer. I can't get the jointer off the lift gate, and we've got this pallet jack 5 feet up in the air. You ever try to lift a pallet jack by themselves?
Oh my God, it's so heavy. It's dead weight.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So what we had to do is the two of us had to we needed the exoskeleton. We had to hoist this thing over our head and lift it down to the ground. Finally get this thing inside the garage. It's all good to go. I signed for it. I go inside. No one's on the meeting.
Well, of course. Do you have any record of when they left? I'd love to know what the timeline of them being like, he's never coming back. Screw this.
Well, so afterwards, I call my boss, and I'm just like, hey, sorry, I got a freight delivery. Well, luckily, my day job is logistics company, so we do all of these like at-home freight delivery and stuff. And I'm like Keith, I'm like, dude, I'm getting fired for sure. This is the end, right? And I call my boss and I was like, sorry, I just got a piece of furniture delivered. It came from, whatever. I'm not going to tell him that it was tools, right? And he goes, oh, no worries. We just decided we were going to move the meeting to a different time. After they spent all fucking morning jockeying this meeting around nonstop and making an absolute nightmare. And I'm taking this delivery the whole time thinking like, this is it. I'm losing my job. Ended up being fine.
Faking downed internet.
Oh, that would have been a good one too. Just left the meeting.
Internet went down.
Yeah.
Did you say what it was? No, obviously you didn't. You just said freight delivery.
Oh. It's furniture, yeah.
Right, because that's what we deliver. Is we deliver like furniture and appliances and stuff. So
did your boss ask if you used your own company for the delivery?
He did.
Yeah.
He goes, did you use us? I said, no, it was Dayton Freight. He goes, oh, never heard of them. He goes, that seems like a really long distance for them to come all the way to Dayton. I was like, yeah, I thought it was weird too.
You should know his competition.
I was like, must have come straight deeper. Must just come straight from the warehouse or something. So that's what's going on in my world today. Keith, what have you been up to? What's going on?
I've been trying to finish this window seat in my house that I've been really dragging my feet because I don't have a sponsor for the video. So I'm like, if I just keep kicking it down the road, maybe I'll have one. So there hasn't been one. So now I'm in the voiceover stage, which I don't know about you guys, but I hate doing the voiceover.
Yeah.
So it's a real struggle to get started on that and get going. So that's what I haven't even started my next project except for this, which was I did a laser cut model. Let's see.
Ooh,
wow.
Very cool.
Floating entertainment center. Yeah, you would think that was, I was like, oh, this is great. I'll just have, I don't know if you guys know Brett from Cascade Create. He does plans for like me and Jason and Michael. And I was like, hey, can you make this a file, reduce it down and make it so, all the pieces are pretty much an 1/8 inch thick and I'll mill up some white oak and then just all separate pieces and I'll laser cut them. Yeah, no problem. So I laser cut all these pieces and trying to glue like these little teeny bars that are up the side. So you put the dab of CA glue in the notch, and before you can even put the piece on there, it's already hardened in there. You know, like spaghetti sauce in the little squares of your strainer. So I'm there with a Dremel tool, like carving out or shaving out all the hardened CA glue. And then those things are breaking like toothpicks. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, hey, Brett, how about this? I'm going to put this together, but what I want you to do is make me a file so I can just 3D print the whole thing in one big giant brick. So we're going to do that. But man, I mean, it looks good, but it's one of those things, don't look too close. It's good from far, but far from good.
So why did you do that? Was that for your own
Keith always prototypes, baby.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys have ever run into this. If you design something on screen, it's like, yeah, those dimensions and proportions look right. And then you build it full scale and you're like, oh, that does not work.
Right. Yeah.
And I found it's the other way as well, as you can make something on screen it's wrong. The dimensions are right, but it looks wrong. But then you build it in real life and it looks good. So with this, the idea was to just, get it to scale and look at all the dimensions and see what works and doesn't work.
Okay.
So I noticed a couple things, but all in all, I think, it was a good, honestly, one of the other things why I did that was I was like, oh, this will make a pretty cool reel. I haven't posted anything on Instagram in 4 years, so maybe I'll make a reel out of this. And then when I was trying to glue this thing together, there were so many expletives and yelling and things flying. And I was like, well, this isn't happening. So
you just got to put a little jolly song over it, you know?
Yeah.
Did you throw it? Did you how many of these things did you throw on the ground?
No, I did not throw because I'm like, I am not going to mill down more material and laser cut more to make another one. So just, take them out and hammer your bench instead of this actual thing. But it was pretty damn frustrating. I'm not going to lie.
But yeah, 3D printing it would be the way to go. I mean, it'd be a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, but then you don't get the actual, because these corners here that are rounded, I milled down through the drum sander like a 16-inch veneer, and then I 3D printed the blocks inside and glued the veneer around the 3D printed blocks.
Keith. That's insane.
This is like Lincoln Logs
time on that than the actual thing.
I could have done a whole YouTube video on just the prototype.
It's gonna get you some of that 3D printed wood filament.
No, I have some. Have you guys used that?
No, I haven't.
I have.
Oh my god, it smells like hell. It's like ABS. It does smell kind of gross. Smells so bad, and you have to use a 6mm or not 6mm, a 0.6mm nozzle. So you swap the nozzle.
I did on a 0.4.
Did you? Okay.
0.4. It's been going okay for me.
Is that walnut?
This is the walnut. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have. Okay.
I gotta say, it just looks like brown. Like
a
different shade of brown.
It doesn't. But apparently, you can stain it because it has actual wood fibers in it.
Can you use wood glue?
That's a good question. I should find out.
Can you sand it?
Yeah, you can sand it.
So yeah, you shouldn't sand any of them.
Yeah,
Keith, you should start making a miniature furniture building YouTube channel.
I was just thinking that there is probably a market for little miniature furniture.
Did you ever see that? There was an Instagram page where people think it was, we don't know who it was, but it would look like it was modeled after Anne of all trades. So they had like a little block plane and doing all these little hand joinery and stuff. It was really good. I'd love to be able to find it. I don't know if they still make videos, but it's very cool to watch that miniature stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My fibromyalgia would flare up doing something like that. I couldn't handle that. Or carpal tunnel, it'd be
carpal tunnel.
Forget it.
Yeah, you got to have pretty steady hands because mine are now covered in CA glue. I'm lucky I didn't get glued to that thing.
The thing is, you can't even do anything about CA glue on your skin. You just gotta wait till it wears off.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a remover.
It's very satisfying to chew at when you're bored.
What drives me nuts about CA glue is I know they come in the 1 or 2 ounce bottles. I've never successfully completed a bottle of CA glue without it just self-hardening on itself.
It drives me nuts. And these companies Total Boat now, they have the little needle in the cap that's supposed to go in the hole to keep it open. But it doesn't. What happens is when I'm spreading that glue and I have the tip like it's in the glue as I'm spreading it, and then it gets around the tip, and then you go to screw on the thing and it won't screw in all the way. I have one that I got screwed all the way down and I can't get the damn thing off now. So I'm like with two sets of pliers. Yeah. So like,
and when you're done with it, you can't just wipe it off, because if you take a cloth to it, you just end up with the cloth stuck to the glue bottle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're disposable.
Yeah. They are. That's why they always
sell
come
them.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they're what, like $10 a bottle or something like that? That's super 15, cheap.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely adds up. See, they need to find a solution. Like I know Keith uses it as well. That the Total Boat Thixo stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You squeeze out just a little bit, and like the little tip is disposable. So the epoxy mixes itself in the tip. When you're done with it, you just leave it. Next time you want to use it, you just take a little pair of pliers, turn the tip off, put a new tip on. Done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatchamacallit? Starbond kind of does that. When you buy their little bottles, don't they come with like 5 or 6 heads?
Yeah, they'll usually throw a couple of those. Like I usually get 2, and then some of the little tips that go on the end.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still a pain in the ass, though. I don't like it.
I miss the day was when I was like a smaller content creator and get excited about CA glue, like Starbond sending you a little package.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't want to buy. Like you need it, but exactly. I don't want to spend money on it. Like the accelerator is like $15 for a can of aerosol.
Yeah, they used to send out like a little kit and would have like every color in like thick, medium, thin. Mm-hmm. It was like, that's like probably $120 worth of CA glue.
Oh yeah. That was when they gave everybody and their brother an affiliate link, and you're like, my first affiliate link. I'm going to clean up on this. And then you find out that every single other human in the world has the same discount code, and you're like, no, never mind. Yeah, they revoked mine.
They revoked yours?
Uh-huh. Because somebody posted it on one of those like coupon websites or whatever.
Somebody.
Coupon Cabin?
No, dude, that would have been a good idea though.
I thought you told me you did that with some of your affiliate links. You put them up on those websites.
Starbond, though.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It worked really well for a period of time.
Yeah.
How'd they find out that you did it though? They dig into the metadata.
Who knows? You got to use the Savari safe, IP relay thing or whatever. Use a VPN.
LifeLock.
All sorts of stuff to get into, but I feel like there was something I was gonna ask you guys about, but I don't know. Couldn't come up with it.
What did you get for joiner planer? I missed that.
So, I mean, as you know, there was tons and tons of back and forth about should I get this, should I get this, should I get that. I know I talked to you about you have the hammer, like the joiner planer combo thing. Mm-hmm. You have about the same size space as I do. It's a 2-car garage that if you got 2 cars in there, you'd be
clawing out the window to get out.
Yeah. Like, come on. Why? Yeah. Who calls these 2-car garages? Anyway, I was like, the space savings would be nice for the joiner planer combo, but I just can't be bothered having to like flip it over and like do the setup and this and that. And I know you were having issues with yours, Keith. And then Jason Bent was like, "Oh, dude, it's great. It's fantastic. I love it." And I'm like,
everybody has a different experience. I feel like that's with every tool.
I know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm just going to get separate ones. So I ended up getting the Powermatic 8-inch helical head joiner. And then the Powermatic 20-inch planer. Because my joiner that I had prior was that like bench top thing. Yeah. And that was a nightmare to use. And then I had the 735 planer. Great planer. But I'm like, I'm ready to upgrade. And, we had the money saved for it and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm just going to get what I want now and be done with it.
You got the ones with the Astroglide coating?
So I got the Astroglide coating on the jointer, but they didn't have it. I'm probably ruining some trade secret. It's not yet available on the planer, but it's coming out. And they're like, you can wait. And I was like, is it coming soon? They told me the time frame. I'm like, I'm not waiting that long.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah.
Have you got them unboxed yet? Have you tested them out?
I got the crate off of them, but I have to rent an engine hoist. to get them off of the pallet.
Wow.
And I was like going to go buy one. And then I called Sunbelt Rentals. $30 to rent one for the day. Done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because all I'm going to do is put a bunch of straps around it, jack it up, get the pallet out from underneath it, and then put the mobile base underneath it and be done.
Yeah.
Like, I was even thinking about, like, oh, do I ask the guys to come over and try to help me, like, jerry rig this thing and get it off the pallet? And I was like, it's not worth it. If that thing hits the ground, it's not worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's worth renting an engine hoist. Like, how do you guys get like your heavy equipment, or how did you get your heavy equipment into your space?
Well,
I can tell you that Harvey dust collector took a nosedive when I was getting it off.
Did it really?
Yeah. Well, it's so heavy on one side. It's very lopsided, and I didn't realize that. So I have racking because I have like 11-foot ceilings in my shop. So I have racking above, and I, like you're saying, you just needed to lift it high enough to pull the pallet out. And they have these two big hooks on the top, but I don't have, there's really nothing to hook it up to. I'm like, all right, if I can just put a ratchet strap over that rack on the top ceiling and just crank it up a little. So as I'm cranking it, but though it's going like this, doing an endo, and I thought I had it off the pallet. So I pulled the pallet out and the thing just goes doink and falls like right on the concrete. So there was a nice dent in it, but maybe that's why it always gets clogged. I don't know. But, and then Pete's like, oh, yeah, I just lifted this up and put a couple rolling pins on her like the Egyptians, and it whoop, came right off. I'm like, oh,
that's, all my years of working on job sites is I always just find some cockamamie way to do it. I'll, like, you know, lift up one side with a 2x4 and, like, kick out the pallet a 1/4 inch and then shuffle over the other side, lift it. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about that, but with this thing being, like, close to 1,000 pounds, and like, if something gets whacked out of calibration, I was like, I'll pay the $30 and rent the engine hoist.
Some 2-inch ABS pipe that you get at Home Depot or something like that. That can support a lot of weight. I've rolled around like big concrete pavers on it and stuff like that. So
do the like Keith said, do the old Egyptian thing.
Yeah, do it like literally like the Egyptian. Like you need like 4 lengths of it that are like 2 feet long. And you roll it onto one, and then you take the one from the end, move it to the front, roll it another 3 feet. It's ridiculous, but it does actually work.
The stuff we do, right? The stuff we do. It drives me absolutely insane. But the machines are in there now. I gotta wire them up, because I still don't understand that when you buy large machinery, why I have to then supply my own power cord for it. Like,
typically they're going into manufacturing operations, not personal homes.
But it's infuriating. Go spend $75 on a cord to wire it up, and it's like, okay, great.
Will they come like pre-calibrated, or do you have to spend a good couple hours getting them all dialed in?
They claim that it's calibrated.
Okay,
they always do.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Do they have a reputation though? Like, if you go on the woodworking forums, or guys like, you can actually get a little bit better if you spend a little bit of time dialing it in?
I'm sure, but at what point is it good enough? You know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm just going to run some stuff through it, and if it is good enough for me, I'd rather trust that rather than go on this endless pursuit of trying to calibrate it to a just stupid amount and potentially actually making it worse during that whole thing. But yeah, Keith, you'd mentioned that your Harvey dust collector clogged frequently. I had the same issue with mine. Is it the stuff gets caked on that like front grill? Is that where yours clogs?
So what happens is, because there's only a sensor in the big bin for the big chips and not in the small bin. If that small bin, like if you're running your drum sander a lot, so you have a lot of fine dust, that bin will fill up and the sensor won't go off, and it will just then overflow into all those filters. So that happened.
And you can't even spin the filter thing.
Well, exactly. So I had this whole thing up. I had my hand going up in there like you're trying to get freaking a Clark bar that's hanging on the edge of your vending machine, trying to reach it, pulling out like just piles and piles of the finest. It was like flour. Like it was so fine it was cold on your hand. I don't know how that even works. So I'm pulling this all out, and I'm trying to turn the paddles the more I take out, and it finally starts going. And then I reach in again and I pull out, and I was like, what is something metal in here? One of the flappers had fallen, broken right off. And that had happened to me before, so I had replaced it before. And I'm like, this is it. I'm done with this thing. It is great if you could access the filters to clean them without disassembling the whole machine. Like, it took me 8 hours when I changed them the last time. Because everything is sealed. It's sealed with caulk. You got to like pull it apart and unscrew everything, pull it all out. It's a nightmare. Whereas everything else is, you just pull out the giant filter and blow it out. So it's, all that stuff with Harvey, like they go 90 or 89% of the way and they're like, that's good. And then never really test it with anybody. Like, just every single thing is like, it looks great in the advertising. Because everything, their pictures are great. It's black, it's hot, it's sexy. And then you use it. I was like, this is great. And then you use it for a week or two. I'm like, wait, what? Why do I have to like make my own? But the dust collection port on the router table doesn't go down to the table. So like it just goes underneath. And it's just one thing after another. Really wish they would like consult some people.
I felt the same way. Like I got the dust collector. I got the table saw too. I got the band saw. Like, the dust collector is, don't get me wrong, it's a massive improvement from the Amazon crap that I had before. But like, you're right. I've already had many issues with it as far as like I've had the bins have gotten full without the sensor going off.
Yeah.
I've had, because sometimes it'll pile up like at an angle.
Yes, it definitely goes at an angle.
And then it'll start getting like caked up in there, but it didn't alert the sensor that it's full, but the bin is full. And I had that, or cleaning out the filter ports can be a nightmare. And it's just like,
well, did you rig up a Y port off of those?
No, because I jammed mine in my miter saw station so tight for the most space and stuff like that I got to slide it out. But luckily it's on the side that I can kind of pivot it out and like still get access to it. But it's still a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's such a, and those caps, dude, they have one thread, so you turn it and like sometimes it doesn't all the way go on, and it doesn't create a good seal and all. It's just, I love it because it's quiet and it's obviously the space saving. It's low. There's so many great advantages to it, but apparently the new G700 like fixes all those. The port can change from the top or the side, and the filters are accessible. They don't. Yeah. They talked about it at IWF last year. The new 800 is out.
Okay.
But not the new 700.
So is it like a 700 like version 2.0?
Yeah. 700 Pro, they'll probably call it.
Pro.
Or the 700, what we should have done the first time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much work it would take both of us to set up our shop with a new format of dust collector though?
Dude, this is exactly what I'm going through right now, because I'm like, what do I get? Do I get the G800, which is roughly the same footprint, but it's way taller?
Right.
Or do I just screw the Harveys and get a V3000 Oneida? But then that thing is so tall, like I would lose. The reason I got rid of my original Laguna was because it was such a space hog. It was so tall and it like took up the whole corner, and it was like a black hole over there. It was because it was literally black. And so when that Harvey came in, it just like it opened up so much space. But so now putting a giant Cyclone back in that space, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, I don't need that much suction. I mean, our shops are small. I'm going tool to tool, really. So I can't. I need something reliable and something that won't frustrate the heck out of me.
Yeah, Zach, do you have an Oneida?
I have a very old Oneida. It's probably 20 years old at least.
See,
so I don't even know. I don't even know what model it is. It's my dad bought it a long time ago. So
runs off of D batteries.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Oh yeah, see, Scott Walsh has the V3000.
Yeah, he just got that recently.
Which is what Jason has in his intermediate new shop. And it has like a silencer on it, so it's very quiet compared, because I listened to all of them at IWF, and I was like, hey, I know this sounds stupid, but a big part of my content is my cats being in it, and they love being in the shop. And can we turn this on? I can tell, I know right away the squeal or the pitch, and you turn that thing on, I was like, nope, There's no way. That was to make them run for the hills.
Is
but
it
supposedly,
so funny?
Yeah, but supposedly the silencer that you put on, I don't know if Scott has that. You can chime in, Scott.
Sometimes
brings it way down the decibel level
and frequency. So
yeah. Well, and I think it's actually louder. If you just turn the machine on, it's fine. But what really gets loud is when the suction starts going. Meaning, if you didn't have any hoses on it, but when the suction starts going, so I don't want to spend $4,000 on something, install the whole thing, and then it makes my cats run for the hills.
Well, Scott said he doesn't have the silencer, and that his is loud.
Yeah, and he's in a confined space. He's like a phone booth in there. Yeah. Oh man.
I wonder how much of a difference the silencer makes then.
So I've never been around like a big, like people are like, oh, dust collectors are so loud. Dude, I even think the Harvey, I'm like, ooh, that thing's got some noise to it. And if you're telling me that thing is silent, I would hate to be around this.
Oh, my one item is howling. You have to put on hearing protection if you're working and it's on. It's brutal.
Oh.
You don't with that Harvey. You can have a conversation. I think because it's right next to my joiner planer. I'll run my joiner planer and that with no ear protection.
Huh. I mean, you definitely know it's on.
Yeah,
but you're not like, oh god, this hurts. I'm sure if you looked up like OSHA stuff, they'd be like, well, after 9 minutes, you might suffer a little. I'm sure it's range, right. No worse than running like a weed whacker or anything like that.
Oh, he said it takes the shop from 19 degrees to 26. What is that, millimeters? In 20 minutes. What is 26 degrees? Is that 50,
that's like
Fahrenheit.
60 something?
That's like 80 something.
Wait, what's the formula? I thought it was you double it and then you have it and add that.
Well, then you have to use the log base.
Double it and add 26 or something, I think.
Oh,
I thought it was roughly 2/3. So like if it's 20 degrees, it's like 60. If it's 25, it's roughly 75. Very, very rough. So it's going up like 5 or 10 degrees in 20
More
minutes.
than that.
7. He said 7.
He's saying 7 in Celsius. So it's going up like 14 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not a mathematician.
Yeah.
Hey, then you don't need a mini split in there, I guess, in the winter.
Well, in the summer though, you need it.
You're creating a sauna.
Yeah.
All right. As somebody who had no climate control in my shop, for 5 years, I would take being hot over being cold in the shop.
Ooh, depends which extreme you're talking about.
If it's like 0 degrees, like freezing, I can see my breath. I can't take my hands out of my pockets without them like cracking, and I can't touch anything. Versus me just sweating over top of my wood, I'd take the sweating.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Sounds I probably would too. But there's like a certain level of cold that I'm actually okay with. Like I could work down to like I'm trying to do the conversion in my head, but like 50 degrees, something like that. I think I'd be okay. Because he's just like
you're not
once
seeing your breath.
Okay.
50.
Yeah.
But
like when the blue starts freezing, that's when it's it.
Yeah.
It's time to
like
go.
Some of my old videos, you would see me wearing a long sleeve, like thermal long john, a sweatshirt, and a winter coat over that.
Yeah.
When I'm working out there. And what I would do is I'd have a heat gun plugged in. So I would like go make a cut, and then I'd go to the heat gun and put my hands in front of the heat gun and do one of these.
I used to have a big kerosene heater that I would run before we had a shop with heat. I would just burn kerosene. It was like a big flamethrower essentially. And it was so loud. It was louder than the dust collector. So I would run it for like 15 minutes, try and film something, turn it, and then like stop filming, go back, turn it back on. It was bad.
Deric, you don't have climate control, right?
No, I don't have it. Well, I have a fan, like one of those big unit fans. And I have like one of those electric heaters.
Okay.
Like a little electric heater that I'll run if it's really, really cold. But I generally try and stay out of the shop if it's too extreme. Like because I like you said, if it's too cold, you can't work with the glue or finishes anyways.
Or your
Maybe
fingers.
I'll make some cuts. Yeah, right. And then if it gets too hot, it's the same thing. Like I'm sweating all over the finish or anything like that. I can't. That's not going to turn out great. So I'll avoid it there too. That and it's just way too hot in here.
Yeah. But I mean, down in Dallas, or not Dallas, you're in Wiley. It's like, I mean, you get what, like 120, 125 down there in the summer?
Oh, God.
No, like 110 to 115 would be an average, like the highs.
Nice
Rarely
coastal
does
breeze.
1 or 2 days it'll go to 120 if it does. But yeah, it's about 3 months out of the year we're hovering between like 95 and like 105 or higher.
Yeah.
Are those the days where you walk outside and then you slap your legs and you go, nope, not today? You go out to get your newspaper in your bathrobe in the morning and you're like, not even getting out to the newspaper this morning. It's not happening.
Those are the days I catch up on editing.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, guys.
Yeah, I wonder if people who live in like really extreme climates will, film a bunch of stuff while the weather's nice, and then be like, okay, now it's the hermit months where I just edit all the
all winter.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible. I mean, I would kind of have to do that when I was in the apartment. Like there were some times where it was just too cold. I couldn't go out to work.
Yeah.
And it set me back. But
is there anything you miss about the old shop?
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine.
Extension cords.
I don't know.
Do you miss the thrill of getting caught? Of not getting caught?
It wasn't
what I mean? You're doing something naughty the entire time you were in there?
You don't know the anxiety, though, because that garage door was so nuts and temperamental. It would just open sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
Like, I'd be working in there. It just opened. Sometimes I would come home. It was open. So
it's probably like you're on the same frequency as somebody else or something. There's something like the same frequency.
So what
did you keep like power tools in there? Like obviously the big stuff, but would you take like, your circular saw and your impact and stuff in case it opened?
No, I leave it in there. Dude, I would have so many dreams about that place just getting ransacked.
Yeah.
So what I finally wised up is I drilled a hole in the front of the garage door for one of those like emergency release key thingies.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have that, it's like you put the key in, you pull the little bob out, you pull it, and it like pulls that red handle or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I would do is I disconnected the garage door opener and just made it basically a manual one.
Oh,
that's what I had to do. But
you reversed that when you left?
No.
Just left it for the next guy?
You better believe that I didn't give them the key to that thing, though. Not a chance that's happening. I gotta pause my backup. Holy moly!
Your quality's going down.
I know. It's because my Backblaze auto backup thing was going because I uploaded hours of footage to my computer today. I finished recording like the voiceover talking parts of my course that I was telling you guys about.
Oh, nice.
74 pages is my script. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Just talking, like if I cut out all of the pauses.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours and 30 minutes already.
I was gonna say, yeah. That's
I know like a long YouTube video for me, or like if I get over 10 pages, I'm like, ooh, this is getting a little long. This is like this might be too long for YouTube.
In the 70s.
Wow.
And like that doesn't even include like, okay, now I'm gonna make this cut. Then you like make the cut and then you come back and talk about something else. This is just like talk.
Have you decided if you are going to split this up into 3 courses or multiple parts? This
is only about shaker style door fronts and doors and drawer fronts. That's all this is. It's like a deep dive. So Keith, I'm doing a deep dive on cabinets, a deep dive on drawers, and then a deep dive on shaker style doors and drawer fronts. So my thought is I can make this course, and anytime I build cabinets, you can kind of like, breeze through it a little bit more and constantly be pitching it, right? Because it's constantly relevant. Likewise with drawers. And like I told you at the festival event, then I can just buy my drawers from somebody else and I don't have to build them for every project.
Yeah, baby.
But oh my God, it is an undertaking. I went through like a whole bag of cough drops during this thing.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I can only imagine trying to. I like to do my voiceovers in like small chunks. I'll do it for like an hour or 2 hours. Because at a certain point, I start tripping over my words. I stop making sense. I'm like, this is completely unproductive. I'll do a million takes to just get one sentence out.
So you couldn't use AI to just read the script in your voice that it can't, I mean, it can simulate your voice.
That would be nuts. Have you done that yet?
No, I've tested it on Riverside, like a sentence or whatever, and it sounded just like me.
Did it? Would it actually be usable? I always feel like it's 90% of the way there, but that last 10% is just like
the voice inflection and things like the pronunciations will be different. You could probably at some point figure out that it's more mechanical than it is a person, but some people may not notice.
Yeah. Somebody taught me a really cool trick. Apparently, like ChatGPT and all these things, it will use horizontal dashes as punctuation in a lot of the sentences. So now my favorite thing is to go onto online reviews and look for reviews that have like the horizontal dashes in it. I'm like, oh, that's a fake review. It's like, it's so easy to spot once you know. Something I told you, we're shopping for a new couch. And all these couch websites, it's like 5-star review, 5-star review, 5-star review. Everybody loves it. But then you start reading it, it's like, oh, these are all just filler reviews that the companies either created themselves or paid for.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's what Scott Walsh did on his course, remember?
I know. It's not even him in it. It's just this. It's just CGI Scott Walsh, all AI powered.
Keith, I know we kind of talked about this at the festival thing. Have you thought about launching another course of your own, not through Creatables or whoever you use?
Oh, Teachable. Yeah, a buddy of mine and I are going to be doing one on the Lamello.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
So obviously it's more niche than everything else, but there's so many Lamello users that, especially the customers that I have, that just buy it and use it for just a couple things, snapping on face frames or whatever. So there's so many different things you can do with it and get really creative with it. So it's more of a tips and tricks video. I mean, we'll probably go over basic stuff too, but then really deep dive into tips and tricks on different things you can do with it.
I mean, I feel like that would be good for you because as like a dealer, like if somebody's interested and you could be like, hey, I've got this 2-hour long thing that shows you all of the different applications you can do for it.
For sure.
Like, I think that'd be super helpful. I mean, if somebody's like, I'm interested in buying one. So like something like that would be a great resource for me. Cause like I go online and they're like, oh yeah, you can do this, you can do this. I'm like, okay, but like I've never used it. I would love to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and it's a great little add-on for anybody who buys one through you, right? Like, I don't know what your price point is, but say an extra $50, you're already buying this $1,000 machine, multi-$1,000 machine. Right. It's like, hey, pay $50 and get this like course that shows you how to use it and gives you all these like cool little bonus tips and tricks for it.
Yeah, I could probably, because you can't give any discounts on the tools themselves. But yeah, if I said, people who buy from me, like, hey, here's a coupon code to save 50% or 25% off the course if you want.
Yeah. Make it a little pack-in item. Have you talked to Lamello, like the manufacturers, about somehow partnering with them?
No, I mean, the guy that I'm going to do this with, he actually has created, and I've created a couple of videos for Colonial Saw, who is the U.S. distributor of Lamello, because Lamello is a Swiss product. And so we've done a couple of videos for their own YouTube channel specifically. And they also put out these, I forget what they're called, like demonstration cards or whatever. They basically give a tutorial on doing different things like installing a range hood using Lamellos and things like that. So I think by putting all of those together, I don't think that Lamello's interested in marketing that or anything like that. It would have to be like sanctioned by them and that we're using the tool correctly and all that, the legalities of it.
Yeah.
So we'll just do it on our own and then see. So that's the thing is like I'm not filming and editing this thing. It's just like we're gonna have a full outline of everything, and then because you got to break it into chapters with headlines and stuff on screen and all of that. And so I don't want to do that. You come film everything. We'll write down what it is that chapter, and then you do all that stuff. But yeah, it's hiring a videographer, and because we got to do it down to my buddy's shop in Florida, so flying somebody down, and so obviously the initial upfront cost. it's probably, I don't know, $5,000.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. And then wherever we're going to host it, I wanted to talk to Scott and John too, about kind of where they're hosting theirs. So where are you going to be putting yours? Is it going to be just behind your own?
So I did a lot of research on it. I know Podia was when I talked to Cam from Blacktail, that's what he uses. So the problem with Podia, Keith, is I would say Podia is probably like, it's the probably the top of the line one. But Podia can be like $100 a month.
Teachable is $99.
Yeah, and then you can get these other ones that are cheaper per month, but they take like a commission of all of your sales, right? So they take like a 3 or 5% commission, and that's not just like the payment processing thing.
Oh,
I think the one Scott uses and recommends, and Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, is I started looking through Shopify because my website's through Shopify. And they have all those like apps and things that you can connect to your store.
Oh, right.
They have one called Tivelo, and it's $19 a month flat, no commission, nothing like that. So it's integrated directly into your website. So like if you go to my website, Keith, the course will be there. And so while you're taking the course, you're staying on my website. So I'm thinking it just probably potentially makes a more cohesive user experience by staying at the website and everything's kind of integrated all in one. I think that's what I'm going to go with, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
I just shut down my Shopify store. So like I don't get any sales through there. It's all kind of through my website or Etsy or whatever.
Right.
Why am I paying this monthly fee? And I don't know. For me, Shopify is just, there's so many options and like it's very confusing. And Eric, you helped me when we were trying to get my Google store.
Oh, I know.
Like it still doesn't work right. And like they had to do all those concessions, and it's still, I get all those error messages saying 12 products are
ineligible.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm like, break this.
I think unless you're willing to really put the time in to learn Shopify in and out, the learning curve is pretty huge on it. Like you really have to be committed to it and like really learn it in depth to get your money's worth out of it.
Yeah, that's why I mean, like I would do an ad for them. Like I love Shopify; it's fantastic, but it would be a little disingenuous of me to tell somebody that it's an unbelievably easy platform. I don't even think Squarespace was an easy platform to figure out.
Yeah.
None of them are.
You know?
It feels like if you got in with Shopify on day one, like if you would be like a Shopify user with like the 1.0 version, and then they added feature and you were like keeping up with it, then it'd be a little bit more manageable. But to come into it now, you're like, what the hell is going on? There's plugins over here, there's coding over there, there's payment processing over here. It's like, it's like a many-headed beast.
Yeah, it was not easy to get started, but like now I do not touch anything on my Shopify store other than adding like a new product. And I know how to do that very easily. You're joking if you think I'm going to go through and try to like edit and add pages and stuff like that. Not happening. But yeah, I think Tivelo is the one that I'm going to use. And I don't think Tivelo has a standalone website. I think they only that's their whole business is this Shopify app.
Oh,
so
okay. Well, I mean, I can easily turn it back on.
Yeah. Was there one that you were leaning most towards, Keith?
I hadn't even researched it. I was going to start asking people.
Talk to Scott, because Scott he went pretty in depth on it. I know he's very happy with it because it all lives on his site. Like he controls it completely, which I think is, again, it's like a little bit more upfront work, but some of these other platforms sound like they really hammer you with costs and.
Yeah. Teachable is just so confusing. There's so many different just trying to find certain things like to enter a coupon code or like it's a night. That's one of those platforms where, because I had a company from Teachable was running the whole thing behind the scenes. So I didn't have to do anything. And then when they dropped that whole program and handed everything over to me, it was trying to learn it and figure it out. And there were modules that they had bought the course and the modules weren't playing. So I had to re-upload. I figure out how to re-upload them in there and rename them. And I'm like,
hey.
Yeah. So
see,
I don't want to go through that again.
That's why I'm almost like, okay, it's sure Tivelo is like $19 a month or whatever. But and I feel like we talk about this all the time. What is my time worth, right? Like, am I better off paying $100 a month and just knowing I don't have to worry about anything and it's done and it's easy and I can move on with my life? I don't know.
Yep.
No, I will definitely pay for convenience. So,
oh yeah,
it's a more convenient thing that it's hands off and it's just easy and easy to navigate and user friendly. That's all I want. I just want simple. Like everything now is so. Even trying to put up an Etsy listing, like this new product I had has different options because it's like you can buy the block. You can buy the block with an extra block. You can buy the block with a marking knife or an extra so 5 different options. There's no way to do that on Etsy. You have to like backdoor it in and changing the options to add. So I'm like watching a YouTube video on how to do an Etsy listing with multiple versions.
It shouldn't be this hard.
Right.
No. It shouldn't be this hard. I mean,
and then they take like a ridiculous amount of money too. Like I'm only on Etsy just because like they take, because I think like if something's $50, you end up with 40, because that's after the whatever PayPal, Venmo, credit card fee that they used to pay with, and then Etsy fees. They just kill you.
You end up losing about 20%.
That's
after
kind of what it
all
seems
the
like.
Stuff, I think, and listing fees and all this and this and that.
Oh, right.
I have an Etsy store just because I put my plans on there because I'm like, why not? Like, it doesn't cost me anything. But it's only on Etsy that I get like customer service complaints. Hey, this never was delivered. I'll send you a screenshot of when it was delivered and when you downloaded it. And then they'll put like a claim, and then Etsy will like flag me for it and refund their money. I'm like, it was delivered. There's a screenshot of it saying they downloaded it and opened it up like a Tuesday at 4:11 p.m. And Etsy's like, refunded. I'm like, people suck, man. Yeah.
It's like the Tim Ferriss thing. If you can make the problem go away for less than $20, then do it.
Right. And that's whenever I get in somebody that can, like, if somebody sends me an email, hey, I had an issue with this, I go, hey, it's taken care of. I've already refunded you, but let's work on this issue. Like, and people are like, oh, thanks so much. Like, wasn't expecting that. Like, it's just so much easier, especially with something that doesn't actually cost me money because it's a digital product, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think with digital products, it's so easy.
Well, I think people get confused because on Squarespace, where mine are, when you pay, as soon as you pay for it and purchase it, bang, the link shows up right there to download. I don't think they actually email you to download the link. I don't know, but that's the most common thing is people either don't get the link or don't download it immediately right after they purchase it.
It's like you have like 24 hours to open it or something like that. I've gotten that when I had Squarespace too, but I don't know. It is a nightmare. Well, hey, we're almost an hour in. What do you guys say we head over to the after show? We got a question this week. We got a long one that I know it's going to get Keith fired up for sure.
Is this the one from John? Because we have he left a nice one on the Discord too, a nice long one.
Oh no,
it's not. The email that came in today with the question as well.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a lot of questions then.
Yeah. Right on. Well, everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you didn't know, Keith, tell them about your podcast. People probably don't know about your show. It's a small show.
Shop Sounds Podcast. Yeah, me and Jason from Bourbon Moth. We've kept the torch going after Nick Key left a couple years ago. I don't know.
Has it been that long?
Maybe. Yeah, so we're just over there screwing around just like you guys. That's it. We don't have topics. We just roll with what's going on in the shop and answer questions in the after show.
Isn't it amazing that people listen to this?
Well, but I find that so for years I filmed everything on the phone, so I couldn't listen to anything else. Like I couldn't have earbuds because everything is on my phone. So since I've gone to now filming with the DSLR, I can listen to podcasts more. So like when you're out there for 10, 12 hours, you need filler space.
Yes, 100%.
We're honored to be your filler space, Keith.
What's odd is you guys sound so different because I usually listen to you at 1.25 speed, so you sound a little.
Do you want me to talk a lot faster? Now this sounds about right.
There we go. Now we're talking. Yeah, I feel like I'm talking kind of fast, but I really can't tell. 4 cafe lattes.
Oh God. Well, everybody, we're going to head over to the after show over at patreon.com/offthegutpodcast. But if, you don't want to hear any more of us, we'll catch you next week.
See you, everybody.
See you. I want to give a huge shout out to our returning top tier patrons. Corey Duvall at Woodcrafts and Honey. Josh at Sawdust Bills. Joe Welsh at Delaware Valley Workshop. Goblin Spanker.
You can't say that anymore.
And Dadu's debit card did work.
Bingo bango, you're done.
Zach, to be honest with you, I don't even know if I followed you.